Hello, I'm Joe Strecce and I'm a blindness consultant. This video is about job accommodations and around job accommodations is a interesting topic. Throughout my career, it's been different. I've been blind for the last number of years. I was low vision before that, and I can tell you that you have a basic idea of what job accommodations you need to do the job, but there are other ones that arrive when you're on the job. You figure out some of the basics that I personally have to utilize. Could be a software, software like a screen reader. Back in the day, screen magnification with a reader. Could be some kind of specific technology that works better with the software or with other things. It could be a scanner to scan documents so that I can OCR them. And things have changed. You can do that with a lot of other devices as well. It could be transportation. So back in the day, I traveled a lot, and I still travel. But it would be that they would reimburse my Uber rides, or before Uber, taxi rides, and bus if it was not dealing with going to the office, like going out to meetings in different places. They would reimburse miles for other people. And some places I had to hire a driver as well and help coordinate that. And then they would get reimbursed for mileage, and then also paid an hourly wage. So I've been through all those different situations, and now in my current work, I've made it to the level where I have a driver as part of my accommodations, because for my work I travel long distances, and constantly going back and forth between locations for meetings and other events and stuff, and so that's one of the accommodations I get. Also, I have a personal assistant. And in most of my jobs, I did not have a personal assistant. I may have tasks that I like reading print people handwritten documents or stuff that was scribbled down. I couldn't read visually, and so I would have to ask other people to help. So there were assistants in the office, and then one of their duties became, if I had something like that, they would have time available to read those things for me. Some people, it wasn't defined early in my career, so I would have there were things I was better at than they, so I would do a little something for them, and then they would help me with those things that I couldn't do. So it went back in both ways. So we kind of job share, job carve, and barter basically some of those tasks that are not essential job duties. To make my work more accessible for me. Certain softwares I've had to deal with, proprietary softwares that were not accessible either, and getting assistance during those times. So making sure that's clear and understood. And you don't know that until you get on the job. So learning that, and being able to bring it up before it's a problem, and explaining, and in some places, they've made those software accessible, and they should. But in some places, these systems have been around for a long time, and they're working to make them accessible. But that doesn't mean you don't need to have access to them. So in the meantime, making sure that you get access in one way or another. So, and it's not your fault that they didn't have an accessible system. So other accommodations, in my work, I have to look at diagrams, like sketches of like sets and locations. So we make tactile graphics. We use picture in a flash, and then my assistant might put Braille on it as well to label it. I have an assistant who, because I work in a very visual medium, where we have to look at movements and fine motor and gross motor, and it has to be audio described to me. She audio describes to me as well, besides being a personal assistant, as I supervise staff and work with people. That's definitely an accommodation, and I've had to ask for and justify. So All of these things are accommodations, and throughout my career, those accommodations have changed depending on the work I was doing, and and you just have to figure what those accommodations are that will allow you to do the job. And you don't want to go into a situation where you're not able to do the job. So being open and honest, and keeping it as a conversation with the employer as well, because those accommodations might change. There are technology changes. New improvements to technology can be helpful as well, that might ease some of that human assistance that you needed at one time. There are great apps and softwares out there that can make your life a lot easier and more accessible. So this is a little bit about how I deal with job accommodations, and I wish you the best. And you can check out my other videos on YouTube, and I wish you the best in the employment process.